In this module, Data Details, you're going to learn more about the actual data that we've been mapping. As you can see from the image above, the data comes from the American Community Survey, which is one of many surveys that the Census Bureau runs. Let's take a moment to review how this module fits in with other modules that you've taken so far. In the first module, Introduction, we focused on getting your computer set up so that you could run the actual code in the following modules. In Choroplethar Basics, you learned how to map data using the Choroplethar package. All those lessons focused on a single data set, 2012 state population estimates. In Variables and Vintages, you took the mapping skills you had just learned and started applying them to other variables from other years. And now, in Data Details, you're going to learn important information about the data that we've been mapping so far. This module is broken into 5 lessons. In this first lesson, Introduction to the ACS, you'll learn that the data we've been using comes from the American Community Survey, and you'll also learn what that means. The most important thing to know is this: the American Community Survey is not the Decennial Census. Many people think that the U.S. Census Bureau only conducts a count of the population once every 10 years, which is the Decennial Census. However, that's not the case. The Census Bureau conducts over 130 censuses and surveys, such as the Decennial Census and the American Community Survey. To start, let's review what the Decennial Census is. It is a complete enumeration of the entire U.S. population conducted every 10 years as required by the Constitution for the purposes of reapportionment and redistricting. Every 10 years since 1790, Congress has authorized the government to conduct a national census of the U.S. population as required by the U.S. Constitution. The image you see here is actually a picture of the first census results. James Madison ensured that the Constitution gave Congress the authority to collect additional information beyond the population count in order to, quote, enable future legislators to adapt the public measures to the particular circumstances of the community. In the 20th century, the questions were divided between a short and long form. Only a sample of the population was required to answer the long form questions. In 2005, the long form became the American Community Survey. Since then, this survey is conducted every month of every year. Data are released annually for all communities across the country. The ACS produces estimates on the social, economic, housing, and demographic characteristics of our nation's population. You no longer need to wait a decade to access these data and see how a community is changing. The ACS samples about 295,000 households each month. In this feature, sampling is very important. There are a lot of implications of sampling the population as opposed to doing a complete enumeration. The most important thing to know is that each value is an estimate. Also, each estimate has a margin of error.